Bit of a different show today. We're just kind of talking through some questions that folks have, things that we've collected either through social media, through some of our posts, or just things that people ask when they're on the phone with us throughout the course of the day as we do our job to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And we've got some really good and kind of interesting ones. One was from Mark in Mount Pleasant. He said, I tried selling my home for 3 months, didn't sell. How does that happen in a market like this? That's a great question. If you think about it, well, I guess, first of all, there's so many people right now that have had success stories with selling property that now becomes the public's perception of what's going to happen when a property hits the market. Our average days on market still in our market, Tri-County, is about 30 days. And we've had some instances where we've had a home on the market for no more than a week, and the seller's already starting to freak out, thinking that something's majorly wrong. Or maybe they made the wrong decision in hiring us, or whatever the case might be. So I think it's really all about reasonable expectations. Now, why would a home not sell? He didn't leave the address, so tough to say. But when you think about why a property does not sell, it comes down to really 4 things: price, condition, marketing, and the motivation of parties involved. I used to say motivation of the seller, but there's got to be equal motivation, if not more, on the agent side of the equation. And so, price is obviously the easiest to fix. And that's always what agents go to as kind of like the singular tool in their tool belt. They kind of put your home, if you can visualize this, they kind of put your home on a conveyor belt. And it runs on that conveyor belt for about 30 days. And then at the end, you've stopped moving. Your momentum is gone. And now this is for like a standard home in the Charleston area. We're not talking about specialty luxury properties because those take unique buyers and those sometimes take longer to sell. In fact, they almost always do. So after 30 days or so, the market has seen it. They've made a decision about it as to whether they're going to come and view it in person or not, or they're just going to kind of, they either say, yes, I like it, I'm going to go see it. They say, no, I don't like it, I'm not interested. Or they say, that's interesting. I'm going to save this and I'm going to watch this and I'm going to wait for them to make some sort of price adjustment. They kind of straddle the fence. And so that's what most agents do is they say, hey, after 30 days, if we haven't gotten an offer, then we're going to reduce the price. And that's all well and good. And in many instances, the price is wrong. And a lot of sellers don't like hearing that because they think that there should be other things that are causing that home not to sell rather than the asking price. Again, they're kind of right too. It's not a one answer equation. Now, obviously, with condition, we're seeing more and more homes hit the market, and sellers are just deciding not to put in the effort to prepare the home for sale. I've got another question on that, and I'm going to get to that, so I'm going to kind of skip over the condition portion of it. But then it comes to marketing, and here's another question. Marketing is an issue that most agents feel they don't need to do right now because the, quote, home will sell itself, end quote. And so what do most agents do? I mean, really, let's be honest. What do most agents in this market do? They get professional photos taken. They put it on the MLS. Once it's in the MLS, it syndicates to thousands of websites. And then they just wait for it to sell. They don't communicate with other agents. They don't do really any form of proactive marketing. They might do an open house. The results of the open house are going to depend on whether or not they actually market the event, which most agents don't. They're just kind of catching people that are driving around over the weekend and pop in. So it's a very reactive approach to selling property. So if you're overpriced and if you haven't, worked on the condition of your home and you've got an agent that's basically attached a set it and forget it mentality to your property, and the only time that you really hear from them is when they want a price reduction from you, then obviously that's going to lead to the last part of the equation here, which is motivation of parties involved. How motivated is that agent really to sell the home if they're not being consistent with their pricing, if they are not advising you on how to sell your home faster or for more money, hopefully both, and they're just not investing into the process to help you sell your property. They're just kind of doing the bare bones. I'll be honest. This is what I think the majority of agents are doing. It's what they've been doing for a long time. It's not like this is anything new. It's just that behavior is being rewarded because the market is so good right now to sellers. So on one hand, you don't necessarily have to go through, all of the things that we go through because our marketing plan is lengthy. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous the amount of stuff that we do when we're marketing our properties. But again, we've got 27 people on our team. We have a lot of homes that we sell. We have a lot of manpower. We have a lot of resources, being time and people and marketing dollars to create just a much bigger wave than what typically happens when a home just gets entered into the MLS and they just hope and pray that somebody goes to one of these websites and your home is in the right place at the right time. There's really nothing that they've done to drive traffic to those sites. They're going there already, and you're just hoping that someone comes along and is looking in that area, in that price range, finds your home, makes an inquiry. You hope that the agent actually answers the phone, which statistics say about 50% of the time they don't. Almost half of all online leads go unresponded to. Don't know if you knew that or not. And then if they do get responded to, the average response time is like 32 hours or 28 hours, something ridiculous. So, you can start to gain a sense for how important it is to work with an agent that knows how to effectively price a property, which there are so many new agents in this market right now, and price is such a moving target that they are really struggling with pricing, which is why you're seeing a lot of these properties hit the market at above market values. And the crazy thing is sellers are getting them. So they don't have to be that good at pricing, which is really a shame because you should be able to sit down with your agent and say, what is my home actually worth? What is the market? What is the data telling you this property will realistically sell for? Because I need to do some planning on my end. I don't want to go through this whole process and select, $600,000 as an asking price if it's going to sell for $540,000. That's a pretty big swing. If you look at the difference between the asking price and the sales price, I'll get some updated numbers for you next week, but pre-COVID, it was like 96%. I think we're closer to 98% now. But if you look in specific categories or submarkets of Charleston, like Isle of Palms, as an example, that difference between list price and ultimate sales price is over 10%. And if you're talking about $1 million, $2 million home, we're talking about, six figures. That's a lot of money. That's pretty far off. What you do need to do, though, is you need to monitor the market and the reaction of the market in response to your value proposition, your listing at that price in that condition with those features. The question is how effective is the agent in getting that property in front of as many people as possible that, here's the trick, that are qualified, ready, willing, and able to buy your house. Obviously, it's important that we spread our net incredibly wide because we have folks moving here from all over the world. But we still need to make sure that the people we're talking to and the people that are interested have the ability to do something about it. Having conversations is great. It's the precursor to a sale, but what really matters here, it's the sale. It's getting it done. That's at the end of the day why people hire us, is we're very results based, and our numbers are very attractive when people look at our stats and what we're actually producing in the form of results. But it's because we understand the different strategies involved, which is also, I think, something important to mention just really quickly, which is that, hey, not everybody needs or wants to sell their home in the first 48 hours of it being on the market. Maybe they say, hey, I don't really care how long it takes, but this is the price that I want. Which means you might have to cycle through a few buyers that were willing to pay you slightly less right now to find the person that's willing to pay you a little bit more, We hope that happens sooner rather than later. But of course, the other strategy is, hey, we're ready to sell. We don't really want to play games. We don't want to be on the market for 90 days. We're ready to move. Maybe you found another property that you want to move into. And they're open to a home sale contingency. So they're going to give you some time to sell your home. How do you get that done efficiently? It's really two major schools of thought there. School of thought number one is I'm going to price it at or slightly below what the property's worth. And then I'm going to let buyers fight over it, which is almost always happening in a market like this right now. And really what you want, what you're after with that is for buyers to be fighting against one another and for one buyer to say, all right, you know what? Here, put this number on it. Let's see him beat that. You want to get into the emotions of that competition. You want somebody to make an emotional reaction or an emotional decision. And if they're going to put, kind of a silly number on the contract, all that does is benefit the seller because now we get to sell it for more money. Of course, the other school of thought is, look, we know there are a bunch of buyers out there. I don't want to leave any money on the table. We can always come down. It's really hard for us to increase our asking price. So I know it's worth, let's just use a round number. I know it's worth $500. Let's list it at $549.9. Let's see what happens. And they hit the market. They get some interest, but not as much as they had hoped. And we're 30 days down the road. We're supposed to have gotten, a dozen showings in the first 30 days. We got 4. We're supposed to have X amount of online traffic. Here's what we actually got. We, as agents, my team, we monitor all this stuff. We share these reports with you. We want you to understand where you fit in comparison to the other properties that are on the market or that have recently sold. All that data is really important because they create lines of comparison for us. How is your home doing consistent with, the other homes in this area? Are we above average, below average? Are we way off the mark? We want to have conversations about that data. But, when that property first hits the market, you're essentially marketing to two groups of people. Group number one are those people that are in the market right now. They just haven't found what they're looking for yet. Those are the people that swarm your listing. Then you've got all the other people that just enter the market every day. Something has changed in their life. They've made the decision to now buy a house. Well, at some point in time, usually around 30 days, you exhaust that first group of people. And now you're left with everybody that's entering the market that's new. The only way to kind of re-engage group number one, those ready, willing, and able buyers, is to change something about your value proposition, which is mostly the price. You can do things like upgrade the home. Maybe you're trying to get away with selling the property even though the carpets need to be changed. Maybe you change out the carpets. Maybe there's a bunch of handprints all over the place because you've got young kids and your home was nice and freshly painted a year ago, but it just never stays that way because your kids put their hands on everything. I'm speaking from experience because I have a 5 and almost 7-year-old. Maybe you paint the house. I mean, there's all these different directions that you can go, but why would a house not sell in a market like this? Look, nothing is going to, I guess, pull you back more, prevent you from selling than a lazy agent that doesn't give good advice, that is simply there to get a listing. Because listings are so few and far between right now, agents are doing and saying what they need to say in order for you to sign on the dotted line so they have a listing. Even if the price that they suggest is way off the mark because they knew that would be a price that excited you. Even if the home needs a bunch of work, but they decide not to say anything and leads you to be like, oh, you don't need to do a thing. Buyers don't care about any of that stuff. They're just going to buy the house. We have so many people paying cash, blah, blah, blah. Well, you'll soon realize that, yes, those things actually do matter, not just in terms of whether your home will sell or not, but how much it'll sell for. When an agent does a really good job with pricing, condition, and marketing, you create urgency among buyers, which is what causes that home to sell for more money. I don't think you can argue that point. So agents that have figured that out and that have tried and true methods for getting that done are the ones that are performing above the rest of the agents in this market. I'm happy to say that my team is one of them. If that's something we can help you with, if you're thinking about selling, buying, investing, you've got questions, you just want to have kind of a precursory conversation, feel free to give me a call, 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009. Or check us out online, listingsincharleston.com. Stick around, folks, for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Broadcast Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday mornings at 10 on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.